be ready to answer one question.
Oh, okay.
You know, should I tell this question right now to be prepared or later?
Oh, shoot. That's okay.
I suppose you will answer easily, you know. So I will keep it for myself, just to keep you tensed, you know.
Okay.
Okay. Now, this is interesting to my mind presentation, asserting Iran's significance for the Belt Road Initiative, continuation of the previous discussion, and Dr. Mojegan Golchin, am I right in pronunciation? Yeah. Okay, thank you. The floor is yours.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you're not tired and listen to my speech. First of all, let me say that it's a great honor for me to be among you all distinguished experts and academicians who have got to gather to discuss on the very important issue of Belt and Road Initiative. This important project, in case of operationalization, can be a very good example of cooperation among many countries after the Second World War. And I can say that after the Second World War, we have not seen such a vast cooperation among the states and nations. As Secretary General of the United Nations in summit in Beijing emphasized, the role of this project in sustainable development is outstanding. When I reviewed the speeches of the leaders of the world in Beijing summit, I got that all the views on BRI can be categorized in two different classes. Some of the leaders appreciated BRI because of its economic benefits, and the others emphasized on it as a great opportunity for creating a proper atmosphere of cooperation among the nations. And I should add, and I should say that the Islamic Republic of Iran agree with both aspects. From my point of view, the great value of BIR is facilitating of people-to-people contacts, which result to cultural and social interactions besides economic one. The influences of nearness of cultures on human relations for building a world without war and violence cannot be ignored. Some of the people in our modern life name the world as borderless world because of some, phenomena like internet and networks. But what can be transferred via internet or cyber links is just information, while we get much more than information in human physical contacts, including emotions, experiences, and etc. As my friend referred, 68 countries with more than 4 billion population can be connected through this belt. This is a very meaningful social phenomenon. In addition, one of the objectives of this project, which was stated by distinguished President of China in 2013 in Kazakhstan, was a strengthening of the people-to-people connections through this road. In fact, historical role of Silk Road was connecting cultures and civilizations and expanding trade among the countries in ancient era too. Nowadays, the necessity of reviving the Silk Road on the basis of 21st century scales has been emphasized by Chinese officials several times. In the past, through this route, different religions and arts and civilizations were gone from one country to another by humans. Traditional and civilizational products were transferred from east to west and vice versa through Silk Road. And accordingly, those products were adapted to the new cultures. Silk Road was the first and the most natural way of links between cultures. In fact, without it, I think it was not possible to have the cultural and economic exchanges. In the framework of a historical role of Silk Road, the position of Iran, let's say, was highlighted as a country located in this route. Iran, with a very ancient culture, has had a prominent role in closeness of nations and cultures, and now is very interested to participate in rebuilding the Silk Road. In the past, Iran was a key path of global trade and also was a bridge between East and West. The role of Iran in Silk Road was a part of the glory of Iranian empire. And now, Iran is ready to replay the role as a link between East and West. Through the Silk Road, products of many countries came to Iran, but the stories of Chinese products were more interesting. When Chinese products came to Iran, it caused more cultural interactions between Iranian and Chinese civilization. In next eras after that, this interaction was more expanded and different kinds of arts, including pottery, painting, and production of textile, were influenced by it. Iranian artists developed Chinese art elements like lotus, dragon, mixed clouds to Iranian elements and Iranian cultural symbols. In addition, the people of both countries loved their elements of their art. In fact, I'm trying to say that Silk Road makes them closer to each other in spite of kilometers distance. Then in 2013, I heard the name of Silk Road again, and I heard that it is supposed to be revived. For me, this event was more than economic and social benefit. It taught the great, let's say, history of Iran to my mind. And I think for many people in the world, reviving the Silk Road has the same meaning. And let's say the shiny history of many of lands will came to their minds, because playing the role in history and having the roots and links with the, let's say, ancestors, fill people with the pride. And that is what the new Silk Road is going to be done. Now I would like to draw your attention to a very important issue with regard to the successful implementation of BRI. In fact, the things which are necessary to convince the people to look at the new Silk Road as a great opportunity are explained as below. First thing which is needed is mindset and cognitive reasons. It is very important to provide people and states with enough knowledge about this project and defining the position of each country in it. You know, everybody has general idea about Silk Road and welcomes it. But more than general information, they need exact and detailed recognition, definition of every country's role in the project, and knowing how the project is implemented. For this purpose, Chinese officials and experts should talk to their counterparts in each country. It can be explained that, it can be explained clearly that this plan is a great opportunity for economy for different countries. This should be done especially with regard to the Middle East countries. I'm from Middle East, so I explain for you that more than 70% of the physical and mental power of this country are spending on the tension in the region. So if the responsible person provides the Middle East countries with the bright horizon of the plan, then the cooperation of the Middle East country will be more and will be accurate. BIR should not include any blind point for the international political economy prospects. Aims and goals of foreign policy of some countries are on the basis of short-term benefits more than long-term. And obviously, as it was referred, BRI is at least a middle or long-term project. Therefore, the importance of BRI should be explained for these kind of countries in order to be placed in the framework of their foreign policies. The second thing, which is very important with regard to the, let's say, implementation of BRI is it should be noticed that cooperation on the project must be beyond the bilateral relations of China with other countries. If some countries do not have, let's say, vast relation with China or even have the passive relation with this country, it should not be interwoven to active participation in BRI. On the other hand, if China recognizes a country as a risky in long-term economic interaction, this will create, let's say, an obstacle in line of cooperation between these two countries in BRI. So it seems that a successful operation of One Belt, One Road project needs a new perspective beyond the bilateral relations of China and other countries. And the third point is, in the way of implementation, the project must be able to solve serious, let's say, challenges like geopolitical competition among some countries in the route. And also, China purposes of operation of the project should be clarified. Some goals of BRI, like promotion of multipolarism, globalizing economy, cultural diversity, development of information technology, all should be on the basis of a strengthening of the countries and their wishes and explaining their position in One Belt, One Road project so that this plan can be a model of, let's say, successful international cooperation. This mega project of Silk Road has been presented as the greatest project in the world and in the history of international political economy. But still, I think it contains some ambiguities. When the concept of BRI is described, what should be considered is industrial and trade policy of the countries from one hand, and dominant trends of global economy from the other hand. The states must be aware of threats and opportunities of this project for their geopolitical and geo-economic positions. One Belt, One Road is an open source program, and participation in that is open and depends on the ability of programming of the countries. Therefore, it is necessary cause them to understand it more and accurate in order to design their program with considering the importance of the project. I would like to add something more, and that's it. What has been written in the basic Chinese document for BRI should be revised during the coming years. You know what? Because, in fact, for example, the issue of sanctions, imposing sanctions on one country or removing sanctions can be a good example. You know, it influences on the, let's say, participation and cooperation in the project of Silk Road. Otherwise, and without, attending to this matter, this important project will never be materialized. For example, Iran as a country could pass the international sanctions, now has a great potential for participation in regional and international projects. In my country, after the recent, presidential election with the participation of majority of Iranians, people voted to Mr. Rouhani because his policy is on the basis of more interaction and cooperation with countries in the world. And we should not forget that many countries want to be a part of this corridor and take advantages from developing resources allocated by China to this project. Some states, because of their conditions, are not that much interested to participating in new Silk Road or may have the least contribution. Some others do not have any plan. And it means that they are in...
Excuse me,
Yes.
doctor.
Yes, sir.
Time is running.
Yeah, it's, I finished it. I'm just, mentioning that I think we should, let's say, consider all the views about the, let's say, different countries on the project. And if I want to conclude, to give a proposal to the meeting, I suggest to, think about holding the seminars and, let's say, meeting on the nearness of different religions which exist through the Silk Road. It can be from Buddhism, Islam, Judaism, Christianity, all can be gathered to discuss about the past and the future. It's a kind of a tool in order to make them closer, which is needed for cooperation in the field of Silk Road. Thank you very much.
Very much.